Obum's mother said, "If your wife has an evil covenant not to have a son, please, Obum, forget about her and get yourself a new wife. You need a son to continue your family name." Once upon a time, there lived a young man named Obum. Obum was a strong and handsome man who lived in a small village with his family. He had a big heart and a kind soul, and he loved his family more than anything in the world. One day, Obum met a beautiful lady named Ogo. He fell in love with her at first sight and knew that she was the one for him. They spent all their time together, laughing and talking about their dreams and hopes for the future. But there was one problem. Ogo was from a village that Obum's family considered forbidden. They believed that people from that village were bad luck and would bring trouble to their family. Obum's family did not approve of their relationship and did everything they could to stop him from marrying Ogo. But Obum loved Ogo so much, and he didn't care what his family thought. He knew that she was the one for him, and he couldn't imagine his life without her. Despite all the disapproval, Obum and Ogo got married and started a new life together. After a few months, Ogo gave birth to their first child, a beautiful baby girl. Obum was excited to have a child, but his family was not happy. They said in their family lineage, they never give birth to female children as a first child. But Obum didn't see anything wrong with having a daughter as his first child. He was overjoyed to have a little girl who looked just like his wife. A few years later, Ogo gave birth to twin girls. Obum was super excited because the birth of his twin daughters brought a huge expansion in his business. Obum's family began to wage war against his wife. They said bad things about Ogo. Obum's mother came to see the newborn, and instead of her to be happy for her granddaughters, she looked at Ogo and asked, "Madam, is it only female children you have in your stomach?" Ogo was holding her babies in her arms as tears rolled down her face. Obum's family treated her like she had committed an abomination and made her feel unwelcome in their family. But Obum loved his wife and daughters more than anything, and he didn't care what anyone else thought. He always said, "My wife and I have 3 adorable daughters. They are all I'll ever wish for, and I am proud to be their father." Despite all the negativity, Ogo had 2 more children. Both of them were girls. People in the village felt Ogo had bewitched Obum, making him defend her so much and not even considering taking another wife, despite her inability to have a male child. Obum didn't believe any of those rumors, and he continued to love his family with all his heart. After some years, Ogo became pregnant for a son. She was so glad that finally she would have some peace. Unfortunately, she had some complications during her pregnancy, which led to a stillbirth. The entire village rumored that she had eaten her own son. They went as far as calling her a witch. One day, Obum's family called for a meeting and told him that he needed to take another wife. Obum's mother stood up and said, "Obum, if your wife has an evil covenant not to have a son, please forget about her and get yourself a new wife. You need to have a son to continue your family name." Obum looked at his mother and replied, "Mama, I don't have a name to continue, but I have a legacy to preserve, and I have 5 amazing daughters to do that. Did you all forget that my wife had a near-death experience while giving birth to my son, who unfortunately didn't make it? What do you all want? You want to see her dead before you accept she has done her best?" Obum, pointing at his mother, said, "Mama, are you not a woman? Does that make you less of a human? You are advising me to take a new wife, but I will do that only on one condition. If you promise that you will cater for the entire need of the child." Obum continued, "I have had enough of all this nonsense from you all, always blaming my wife for having daughters. I have daughters. Allow me bother about that." Obum's mother and other members of the family were quiet as they hid their face in shame. After that confrontation, no one said anything about Obum's daughter anymore. The family was at peace. Obum put all his efforts into raising his daughters and loving their mother. He taught his daughters that they could do anything they set their minds to do. Obum's daughters grew up. They became very successful in their respective fields. The first daughter became a nurse. His twin daughters became cybersecurity engineers. His third daughter became a doctor, and the youngest one became a pilot. And she gave Obum the honor of being on her first flight. As Obum flew with his daughter, he looked up and said, "What more can a father ask for?" Obum was so proud of his daughters, and he knew that they would make a difference in the world. On Obum's 70th birthday, his daughters surprised him and their mother to a trip to the Caribbean. They wanted to show their parents how much they appreciated them and how grateful they were for their love and support. Other men in the town saw how Obum had raised his daughters to be strong and independent, and they were inspired. They learned his popular saying, "A child is a child, whether boy or girl." Obum's daughters were so proud and happy to have such an amazing father who didn't limit them. And Obum was grateful to have 5 amazing daughters who filled his life with so much joy and love. He may not have had a son, but he had something he considered even better. He had 5 strong, successful daughters who loved him so much. This story teaches that every child is valuable and worthy of love and acceptance. Obum's unwavering love for his daughters, despite societal pressure, shows the significance of family bond and the power of unconditional love. The story teaches that a child's worth is not determined by their gender, but by the love and support they receive from their families.